Grr, arg.
Hi, guys, and welcome to the Mixtape Podcast, a podcast where we review movies from a screenwriter's perspective. Up this week, we have one of my favorite all-time superhero movies in the universe ever. We are doing 1996, The Phantom. Starring Billy Zane as the Phantom, I will be your host. My name is Dean, and I am joined by Marcelo Nostroza. The Phantom was directed by Simon Windsor. It was written by Jeffrey Boehm, and it was based off of Lee Falk's comic strip of the same name, The Phantom. The Phantom was... I saw this in the cinema 8 times. And this was when movies were cheap. So people today going, fuck, you paid that much? No, they were cheap as shit. And I loved it. I just fell in love with the story, with everything. It is still today my favorite superhero movie. So, The Phantom, if you don't know and you haven't seen this amazing movie, is this. The Phantom travels to New York City to thwart a wealthy criminal genius from obtaining 3 magic skulls, which would give him the secret to ultimate power. So the opening scene, we're in 16th century and we're on a pirate ship, and there's a young boy and he sees his father get killed by someone called Kabai Sang, who leads the Sang Brotherhood. He jumps overboard and he kind of swims to shore, where he's met by a native tribe. This is Bengala Island, where this boy will grow up and live. The natives, when they find this boy, they believe that he is, or he will be, a savior and bestow upon him the skull ring. And the boy vows to devote his life to fighting piracy. So right there in the first scene, you get exposition. Yeah, you do. But you kind of need the backstory. This movie is kind of, I think it's already 2 hours. So you need that 5-minute opening to explain kind of how he became the Phantom. More information will come out later on. But I think just this exposition, I felt like it worked. What did you think about the opening scene? And what do you think about the movie The Phantom overall?
I love the Phantom. I grew up with the Phantom just like you. You went to go see the film 8 times in theaters. I went to go see the film 5 times in theaters. I love the Phantom so much that I remember watching the original Mission Impossible film from 1996, and before that film, they showed a trailer for the Phantom.
Ooh.
And and also just real quick, when Mission Impossible was released on VHS, they also put the Phantom trailer on the VHS to promote its VHS release. But to get to the important stuff now, I really love that this film opens up with a voiceover explaining to the audience the history of the Phantom and the lore of the Phantom. And I just love the overall milieu of this world that it presents. I mean, this kid basically got adopted by a bunch of natives, and the natives basically willed him to become the forest's protector in a way. And I think that is so goddamn cool. So even though this movie is like 2 hours long, based on what Dean said, I really think the exposition in the front was really needed, because they got the mythology of the character out of the way right off the bat, so they didn't have to deal with it anymore. And for the rest of the film, they basically build up his legend, and they build up what other characters think about him in the universe.
Yeah, exactly. It's just done really well throughout the whole movie. It could have been, everything could have been thrown at you in the first scene, but it wasn't. You just kind of get a taste, and throughout the movie we learn a bit more. So the official first scene of the movie, we're in Bengala jungle. It's 1938. And look, I'm just going to call them bad guys. They're kind of like pirates. They're bad guys. They're driving a truck through the jungle, and they have a local boy with them, which they've kind of kidnapped for directions, because they don't know where they're going.
I would not call them bad. Well, they are bad guys, but I would just call them
like thugs,
bad gangsters.
Like thugs, bad gangsters. Yeah. That's what they are.
Bad gangsters, thugs, whatever.
Yeah. So they stop the truck, and they get out and they start walking, and the boy stops and he goes, "I'm not going to go any further because these woods are protected by someone called the Ghost Who Walks." I love that, by the way. I love that tagline, the ghost who walks. Like, it's just so, whoever thought of that, which is probably Lee Falk because he created the Phantom, is just a genius because it just sounds so fucking terrifying. So one of the bad guys, or one of the thugs, Quill, he says, I'm not worried about the Phantom. And there's a close up of his face, and we see that he has like a scar on his face in the shape of a skull ring. And at this point, you kind of like, you don't really know what it is. And then they walk through the forest some more. The jungle. They enter a cave, and it's full of mummies and skulls and trinkets and all this other cool shit. And they grab a silver skull, and they're like, "This is what we're looking for. This is why we're here." They grab it, and then they start to hear drums. And Quill is like, shit, we need to get out of here. We need to get out of here. And you're kind of like, what does he know that nobody else kind of knows? We switch to a scene of the Phantom, and we see a glimpse of him, and we see his purple suit. We don't see his face. We see just bits and bits, kind of like Batman when they introduce him, you see kind of bits of his suit before you actually see him. And we see he has a wolf named Devil, and he gets on a white horse named Hero. So these are the animals, these are his animals, they help him, and then he starts kind of galloping towards the cave.
Yeah, I really, really like the scene of these gangsters going through the desert, eventually ending up in a cave and getting one of the MacGuffins that will push the movie forward. The thing that I liked about the scene, the thing that I liked about this scene the most is when they're driving to the cave. The bad guy Quill with the scar of the skull ring on his face, the way that he speaks about the Phantom and the way that everybody speaks about the Phantom in this movie is with a sense of respect and mystery and mysticism. And I just like the fact that Quill as a character has this sense about him that he's scared out of his wits, but he doesn't show it. Even look. Even once they get into the cave and once they get the skull that they're looking for, his group says there's so much gold in here. We should take it all. Maybe we can make a profit out of it. And Quill says, sure, take it all. But the second that the drums start playing, Quill sort of has this look on his face like, I'm scared out of my wits, but I don't want to tell anybody. And when his, a scumbag partners say, what is that? He just says, "Oh, pay no mind. Let's get the hell out of here." I just like the way that the actor played the character so well. I don't know the actor's name, but he is a well-known character actor. He's really good.
I think his name's
And
James
yeah,
Remar. I think.
Yes. I believe
He's in a lot of
it's
stuff, and he's
James
good.
Remar. And just a really, really quick word on how they introduced the Phantom, or how they introduced the hero of this movie. I really like how they did it because, like Dean said, it's like it's a very Batman opening, and I love when the camera pushes in, and the actor who plays the Phantom just lifts his face up. And then you see his eyes and like, holy shit, that even as a kid, I was like, that's a bad motherfucker right there. And I was like, this movie fucking rules. And we're not even 10 minutes in yet.
Yeah, it's fucking the best. It's the best. So the gangsters are running to their truck away from the cave when we see, for the first time, the Phantom in full view riding on his white horse. And again, I'm like swooning over Billy Zane being the Phantom riding this white horse going, oh my gosh, like sweating.
Quick word.
It's just gorgeous. Yeah.
Quick word.
Yeah.
Listen, I adore Billy Zane in this movie, right? I adore him. But every time I see Billy Zane, I think of that motherfucker
from Titanic. I know.
I wish I didn't, but I do.
I know. No. I think of the Phantom, thank God. I block him out as the guy, that dickhead in Titanic. I block him out because he's the Phantom, and he always will be to me.
Yeah.
So the gangsters get to the truck, and the Phantom follows them. And Quill says he killed the Phantom years ago. How the hell is he still alive? So that's why he was like, oh, I'm not worried about the Phantom. And then when he hears the drums, he's like, what the fuck? He starts freaking out. And now you know why. He's like, but I killed him, but what's going on? And now he's confused. So after a chase sequence, Quill jumps out of the truck and the truck goes onto a bridge. And the little boy is still in it. Now, it's really cool how they did this scene because it's like this rickety bridge and it turns, but as it turns, there's like these vines that loop over the truck. So when the bridge actually turns upside down, the truck is upside down, but it's held up by the vines that have connected the truck to the bridge. It looks really cool. And then, the boy falls out, but then the Phantom grabs him, and then it's just this really, really cool hero sequence by the Phantom, and you can see what he can really do. You can see his strength, you can see his intelligence, you can see how he works things out. It's just a really, really cool action scene, I thought.
Yeah, when I was a kid, this was my favorite section of the movie. And the reason why it was my favorite section of the movie is because they played it in all the trailers a million fucking times. But like Dean said, in this scene, you find out how the Phantom reacts under pressure, you find out how he deals with the problem, and you find out that he will do absolutely anything for the local inhabitants of the jungle. And I really, really love the scene because at first, when the Phantom hops onto the truck, he has some trouble getting into the truck. And once he gets into the truck starts to turn upside down. But like Dean said, there are these vines on the bridge that hold the truck in place for a couple of minutes. The thing that I like about the scene so much is that this whole sequence is done by miniatures. And I absolutely adore practical effects mixed in with early CGI. And there's this moment when the Phantom and the little boy fall out of the back of the truck, and the Phantom grabs the little boy, and then you can see the river below. And look, it's obvious now with the technology that we have in present day. It's a plate. It's an insert plate, but still, it looks fucking fantastic.
Yeah, it does.
It looks great. I absolutely love it. And when the truck falls, it blows up. It's just fantastic. But one more quick word.
Mm.
I love the fact that the screenplay writer pushes the story forward by telling us why Quill was so freaked out in the previous scene in the cave once he heard the drums.
Yep.
Because according to Quill and according to a bunch of people in the rest of this movie, as we're going to find out, the Phantom is immortal. He never dies. He's always the same person. So basically, he's like an immortal. So I really think that's a great piece of character mythology for the Phantom.
Yeah, and in the next scene, we actually learn that the reason they call him the Ghost Who Walks is because he's believed to be over 400 years old and can't die. Because every time someone thinks that they kill him, he just comes back. So they just, like you just said, they just think that he's immortal. Now we go to the Phantom, or Kit Walker. That's his actual name, and he lives in the Skull Cave. So he's sitting there and he's getting patched up by his worker. Oh my god! I'm just gonna. I'm just going to swoon. And when I saw this scene in the cinema, I was like, oh my God, it's Billy Zane with his shirt off. Perfect. He's perfect in every fucking way. His hair's all wet. It's brushed over his eyes. And I'm just like having a heart attack in the cinema going, could there be anyone more perfect on the planet? This guy. He's gorgeous. He's fucking gorgeous in this movie. And anyway.
Can I just jump in here for a second?
Yes, you can.
Billy Zane is a really, really cool thing about this movie, but there's another cool thing that we haven't even got to yet. When I was a kid, when I saw this movie, I had already seen that movie.
I know.
And when she popped up, I almost lost my
I didn't even care. I was too tunnel visioned on Billy Zane. I didn't even care. I was like, oh, I don't care. Billy Zane.
Seriously, but also there's another actor in this movie that I really, really enjoy as well. But enough of me stalling. But Dean, off you go.
So anyway, he's sitting there and he's getting patched up, and he's reading like an old book that explains about the skulls of Tuganda, which is one of the silver skulls that the gangsters took in the beginning. One is made of gold, one is made of silver, which is the one they nabbed, and one is made of jade. And when the skulls are put together, they generate an energy 1,000 times more powerful than any explosive known to man. So we get backstory on why they're collecting the skulls. and why we can't let them get the skulls, right? So it's actually, okay, Billy Zane's got his shirt off and I'm like swooning, right? But there's a point to the scene. I think that's why I watched the movie 8 times, because for the first 7 times I was looking at him, and the last time I'm like, oh, there's a point to the scene. Maybe that was what it was. Maybe that's why I'm like, have I missed something? Oh, that's what it was. Yeah. So anyway, what did you think about the scene? That's what it was, I reckon. I just missed it.
I can't breathe. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay. Okay. Oh, it's gonna be okay. I think it's a really, really good scene because listen, I'm sure for the ladies out there and for gay guys, Billy Zane having his shirt off is great. That's wonderful. But I love that in this erotic scene for a lot of people, we actually get more story progression, and we begin to understand why the MacGuffins of this movie are so dangerous to have together and to have in one place, and why one individual can't have these 3 skulls together, because having these 3 skulls together would basically bring on the apocalypse for the whole world. So I really like that the writer and the director of this film gave you eye candy with Billy Zane for some folks, but they also gave you some vegetables in one scene. So it was very economical in my point of view.
Yeah, look, there's a lot of eye candy for men out there, but there's not a lot for women. So I take this as eye candy for chicks. Yeah,
Can I ask you this?
Yeah.
When you were watching this movie for this discussion, did you watch the scene 8 times?
I should have. I didn't.
All right. Well. You know what? I was going to give you props, but I'm no longer going to do that because I was going to say you're improving.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, you're improving.
My crush. What actually did crush me was the fact that literally it was like 15 years after the movie was released, I realized that Billy Zane was actually wearing a wig and that was not his hair in the movie. And I was like, oh, what? That really fucking killed it for me.
Yeah. I mean, there are several moments in this film when I focused on his hair and I'm like, is his hair thinning? But then I was like, shit, I think that's a wig.
Yeah. It's not real. It's not his hair at all. So anyway, next scene, we're in New York and we meet Diana Palmer. Who's Diana Palmer?
Woo! Ah! Christy Swanson, Be Still My Heart. The original Buffy. Not the best Buffy, but the original Buffy.
Thank you. And she's a rich girl and she kind of arrives home. Like it's her uncle's mansion and she's got a rich family, clearly like in the gazillions, very, very wealthy. And they're having a rich people party, which is like a black tie party type thing. And then, so we meet her uncle, and he is the owner of the Tribune newspaper. So he's very wealthy. He's very nice. Like her family's very nice, but her family doesn't understand her because she's just come back from like an adventure. It wasn't really said a lot, but she doesn't really fit in with the rich family thing. She kind of wants to go off and do her own thing, albeit if she didn't have money, she wouldn't be able to do it. But anyway, she kind of shies away from that.
Yeah, no, she is the black sheep of the family. She's the outsider. She's the dissenter.
Yes. So now we meet Xander Drax, who is a wealthy businessman, and he is the other actor that you liked in this movie. Yes.
Oh, Treat Williams, man, Be Still My Heart.
Yeah, he's awesome.
He played Andy Brown on Everwood. He passed away just a couple years ago.
Yeah.
It did my heart so good to see him in this film. I mean, he overcooks it to like 150, but this movie calls for it.
Yeah, exactly. Diana's uncle is basically on to Drax's illegal activity because Xander Drax is like a businessman that has his hands in kind of every pie and just wants what he can't have because he's just a typical mustache swirling, two-dimensional villain, which he's supposed to be. So he's not supposed to be any kind of deeper than that.
Yeah, I heard one time or I saw an interview with Treat Williams that he actually based his performance or his character on a really exaggerated portrayal of Howard Hughes.
Oh yeah, that makes
Like
sense.
like like if Howard Hughes was a fucking nutter, like he would have been Drax. But
Yes.
I really like how he played him because he played him with reckless abandon, and he does things in this movie that I have no idea how he got away with.
Yeah. Yeah. Because he's got the police chief in his pocket, that's why. He's got everybody in his
Oh yeah.
pocket.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right.
So Diana's uncle wants to put him in jail. He knows he's fucking shady. He wants to put him in jail. And he tells the police chief what he knows and his plans to meet an informant. Now, at this point, he doesn't know the police chief is with Drax. And I'm like, every time I watch this movie, I'm like, no, shut up. No, no, no. He's going to tell Drax. Even though I know it's going to happen. Oh my God. This movie, oh my God, it's a fucking movie. I love it. So anyway, Diana says that she'll meet his informant because, you know, he has to stay here and take care of business and do what he needs to do. And her uncle has enough faith in her to say, okay, yes, you go and kind of meet him. And he gives her an envelope to give his informant, which is basically a tattoo of a spider's web. Right? Because he doesn't know what it is, and his informant, he thinks, might know what the tattoo means. Then the next scene, the police chief basically gets into a car with Drax, telling him everything. And so that's that scene.
I really like the fact that I really love the introduction of Diana Prince in this film, and it's not because of
Diana
it's not-
Palmer. Diana Prince is Wonder
Damn
Woman.
it. Oh my god. Okay. Take two. I really love.
No, you don't get a take two, my friend. I'm leaving that in.
Of course you are. All right. I really love the characterization for Diana because I love the fact that she is a part of a rich family. She's basically an heiress, but I love the fact that she rebels against her family, and I love the fact that she basically wants to go her own way. But I also love the fact that Dean brought up the fact that she is really lucky that she has money, because if she didn't have money, she couldn't afford to do all these wonderful things that she does. So I really think having her money allows her to be that way. And if she didn't have her money, if she didn't have her daddy's money, she wouldn't be that way
That's true.
to an extent.
Yeah, that's
So I really think her money informs her decisions. I don't know if anybody's ever talked about her in this way when it comes to this film. But I also love the fact that Diana has a bit of Buffy in her because she's very, very, very headstrong. She's very, very self-sufficient, and she can kick some fucking ass, guys, which
she's ballsy.
we will learn.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's ballsy, definitely ballsy.
So Diana boards a seaplane. As one of Drax's boys kind of informs Drax, she's boarded the plane. This scene, Drax is in his office and he's fiddling with a microscope. And as he turns the focus knob, two blades eject up from the eye holes. And you're like, oh, that's not going to be good. So then a man walks into his office and Drax is basically interrogating him, asking him if, you know, the information that he's been giving this guy, is it confidential? Because people know about what he's doing and they shouldn't. The guy goes, no, I assure you everything you tell me is confidential. I don't tell anyone. Drax knows he's fucking bullshitting. So Drax says, okay, I can't believe you. Can you take a look at this under the microscope? And you're like, oh no. And he looks and he goes, I can't see anything. He goes, yeah, you need to turn the knob. And you're like, oh, because we've just seen what it is. And then he turns the knob and you don't see it because it's a fucking PG movie. But you hear it goes, and it's like, and you go, oh, right in the eye. But it's a good scene because A, you don't need to see it. You don't need to see blood or anything like that. But B, you can see how evil Drax is. He doesn't give a fuck. He will literally blind someone, maim someone, kill someone, and he does. Like, he has no empathy, nothing. There's nothing redeeming about him. You don't feel, like I said, he's a mustache swirling villain, but that is the way that he's supposed to be. And I like that about him.
When I was a kid, this scene of Drax playing with the microscope and revealing that the microscope had little knives in them scared the shit out of me. Every time this scene came up in the movie theater, I would go, "Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Is it over? Is it over?"
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and then when it was over, the person that I had watching the film with me, which was my grandfather, I used to go to the theaters. My grandfather used to take me to the theaters all the time when I was a kid, but he would put his hand on my shoulder to indicate that the scene was over. But
Oh.
I really love that Drax is such a balls to the wall, mustache twirling villain, because the fact that he is the fact that he's got everybody in his pocket, like we've said previously, allows him to do this crazy shit. And I was thinking today, how the hell does he get rid of the bodies?
Oh, he's got
Like,
henchmen for that.
yeah, 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 yeah. He's got people.
So Diana's seaplane has basically been forced down onto the ocean by smaller planes, piloted by pirates, and it comes over the radio of the Phantom, because he's got a radio in his cave, kind of monitoring like police radios and stuff. And
Is it
mm,
is it absolutely great that his assistant was powering the radio?
yeah, because there's no power, right? So he has to power the
He was
radio.
pumping it.
Yeah, he was pumping it. And I was like, okay, well, that's accurate. That's cool. That makes sense, because the cave is lit by candles. So that makes sense. And he's powering the radio by like a crank. And I'm like, oh, well, that also makes sense, because it wouldn't make sense if there was like lighting and televisions and shit, even though it's 1938. Did they have TVs in 1938? Yeah, I'm sure they did. I'm sure they did. They
Yeah,
had
they
black and
did.
white TVs.
They did. Yeah, but again, the Phantom is living off the grid in a cave, folks.
True. So the pirates enter the plane and they're asking for Diana Palmer to show herself. And then Diana stands. One of the head pirates is played by Catherine Zeta-Jones. Before, she was Catherine Zeta-Jones. So little tidbit, she
Oh,
is in this movie and she's awesome.
she's awesome.
She's
She's
awesome.
amazing in this film.
So the Phantom goes to speak with the Jungle Patrol captain about the incident, like if he can get any more information. And it turns out that he was actually the informant that Diana was going to see. And when he says that, when the Jungle Patrol guy says Diana Palmer, the Phantom gets all a bit uppity. He goes, "Oh, Diana Palmer," and he's like, "Do you know her?" And he's like, "No, no, no, I don't know her." And you're like, "Oh shit, he knows her." He knows Diana Palmer. What's going on there? So anyway, he speaks to the Jungle Patrol captain. He tells him that they took Diana, and he finds out kind of where they took her. So it's a good scene, because Diana gets kidnapped, because obviously the police commissioner has told Drax this is what's happened. Drax doesn't want Diana to get to the informant, so he's forced the plane down. He's kidnapped Diana to find out what exactly she knows. And now we know that the Phantom is onto it, and the Phantom is going to go rescue Diana. So that's that scene.
I absolutely love the scene when Diana's plane gets taken over by pirates, and Catherine Zeta-Jones comes into the plane. And she says, "Oh, we're looking for Diana Palmer." Diana Palmer stands up, and then she has like this dialogue, and then the look on Catherine Zeta-Jones' lovely face, and she just goes, "Whackata," and she whacks her across the face. Um, I I absolutely love that so much. But the other thing that I was thinking about in this scene, like, do we ever see Diana's father again in this movie?
No,
Because
but
I'm
that's her
like,
uncle. We don't even know who her parents are.
oh, okay, okay. I thought I've always thought that was her father. I never realized that until just now.
Yeah, it's
I've
her uncle.
I've seen this movie a billion times, but I always thought that was her father.
No, no.
That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. But I also really, really love that Drax is sort of eliminating the people that will be an impediment to him getting his hands on this skull. And I also think that it's really smart by Drax to kidnap the family member of the individual who is chasing him and who wants to figure out what his evil plan is.
Hmm.
Because if that individual who is chasing him eventually gets evidence on what Drax is doing, Drax can use Diana as leverage and
Yeah.
as a bargaining chip, which
Yes.
is really fucking smart.
So Diana's being held. She's been kidnapped off the plane. She's being held in a steamboat on a dock. So the Phantom finds the steamboat. He climbs aboard the steamboat, and finds her and Catherine Zeta-Jones's character. I think, yeah, her name is Sala. I'm just going to call her Sala from now on because I don't want to keep on saying Catherine Zeta-Jones because that's going to be annoying. So Sala is there. And Diana actually have really good hate chemistry. Like the actresses have good hate because they hate each other. And in the end, it kind of turns around, but I love the scenes they have together because they're bitchy without being bitchy, and they're passive aggressive towards each other, and
It's
they're
so
really good.
good. It's
They play off of each other really really well.
Yeah, I mean, there's a scene coming up with there's a scene coming up that I feel illustrates that perfectly, and I can't wait till we get to it.
Yeah, so the Phantom unties Diana, and Sala points a gun at the Phantom, and he just grabs it out of her.
Oh, this is the scene when Sulla actually notices Diana's boots, and she goes, "I want to see those boots."
Yeah.
And when she grabs her feet, Diana sort of swishes away, and she's like, "Stop that!" She takes the boots off her feet. She goes, "I knew it, New York City." It was like they're and she's like, "My size too." And the fact that she smokes, plus in my book, but also the chemistry between them two is so good. Just to back up Dean's point there.
It is, and I love when she takes her boots off because that's such a chick thing to do. Going, oh, I like those boots. Can I have a look? Like that's such a chick thing,
Yeah,
and I
it's such a
love that
chick
she
thing
did
to
that.
do.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
So anyway, she points a gun at the Phantom. It's like, yeah, you're not going anywhere. He just grabs it out of her hands, which is sexy as shit. And then Sala is so turned on by this, she pulls the Phantom towards her and kisses her. And I love how Billy Zane plays this. She kisses him, she steps back, and he just looks at Diana and goes, "Tie her up." Like he's just like, just the way he
and then,
delivers the line.
yeah, tie her up.
And then Diana just
And then what does
punches
Diana
Sala in
do?
the face, and he's like, "All right." I was like, it's like, fuck this bitch. I'm punching her in the face. It's such a Buffy-esque thing to do. But that's
Yeah.
it. It's really funny. So Diana says that, thank you for coming to rescue me, but I can take it from here. And she just like storms past him. The Phantom is like, she hasn't changed a bit, which again leads us to believe that they kind of knew each other. So the Phantom and Diana board a small two-person plane and they fly away from the Steamboat. And they notice that they are losing fuel because they're being shot at. So they have to jump. And Hero the horse is galloping under the. I always love this scene. Now, whether it was realistic or not, I don't give a fuck, right? Because it's a superhero movie. I love his horse Hero is galloping under the plane, and Billy's flying it. Sorry, Billy's not flying it. The Phantom's flying it, and then he nudges it so it's like piloting itself, and then he jumps onto the wing because Diana's on the wing. And Hero's galloping under the horse, and the Phantom goes, "Okay, get ready." And I love this. I love how Christy Swanson delivers the line. She's like, "Get ready." You could just tell, like, excuse me, like for what? Like she just like she's holding on for dear life on the wing of this fucking plane, and then he jumps off onto the horse, and I'm just like, oh my god, that's so hot. Like, and then he puts his hands up, and then she jumps off kind of into his arms, and I'm like, oh my god, that's hot. And the plane kind of crashes into the mountains, and they get chased by pirates through the jungle because the pirates have gotten into like trucks. But he's friends with all the natives, and they help him. So he's galloping through the woods, being chased by the gangsters, the thugs, whatever you want to call them. And the natives kind of put a stop to that. And she's like, "Oh my god, what's happening?" He's like, "They're my friends." Every time he delivers a line, he's so happy and positive. He's like, "Yeah, they're my friends." Anyway, that was a long scene, but it was a good scene. It was a good scene.
I absolutely adore the sequence, and unlike you, that I believe kind of is questioning the validity of the sequence, I believe this sequence is actually possible because the plane was low enough to the ground that the Phantom and Buffy, for lack of a better word, could jump on the the horse to actually make their escape. So it is possible. But also, I do want to just point out the chemistry between the Phantom and Diana is absolutely wonderful because they have this sense of familiarity with one another, and the way that they talk to each other, and the way that these lines are being read. That like Dean just said, like when they're back on the horse and they're running, they're riding into the jungle, being chased by by the gangsters who have the worst aim on the fucking planet, by the way. I just want to mention that.
Mm,
They shoot so many guns, but they don't hit a fucking thing. I'm like,
yeah.
what did who was it? Where did you go to? Where did you go to bad guy school? Did you go to learn to shoot from the fucking stormtroopers? Because you guys are fucking awful.
Awful. Awful.
It's
So bad.
so fucking bad. But also I think the reason why the Phantom is so cheerful and he's so like flippant in the face of danger is because the comic book was like that.
Yeah. Look, with the plane sequence, I was more thinking like, could a horse keep up with a plane?
Oh,
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. That was what I was getting at.
but
Like, you could jump off
yeah,
onto a
okay.
horse, but yeah.
Okay, but you have to take into account that the plane was running out of fuel as well.
That's true. It could have been slower. That's true.
Right.
So the next scene is the Phantom takes Diana back to his skull cave. You take her back to the skull cave. You do that. Take her back. Do it. Just do it.
I absolutely
Take
love
me
how
back.
horny you are about this movie. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Anyway, the jungle.
I swear to God.
Yeah.
I swear to God, every time I see Billy Zane now, I'm gonna be like, Dean is horny for this guy. I'm like, I'm not gonna get the fucking out of my
Only in
head
this
now.
movie. Like now, no.
Oh,
No,
no, he's
no.
bald now, poor
And
guy.
like, no. Only in this movie. Anyway, so anyway, they go back to the Skull Cave and the Jungle Patrol captain is there. And Diana gives him the paper with the spiderweb tattoo on it. And him and the Phantom kind of give each other looks and they say it's the tattoo, it's the tattoo of the Sang Brotherhood. And they both know that that's kind of not good. And she tells them about Xander Drax. He's got this tattoo and because they're like, where have you seen this? And the Phantom asks, where is Xander Drax? And she says, New York. So we're going to go to New York, 1938. So anyway, that's that scene.
Yeah, it was a really quick scene to push the story forward, and I really like that the Phantom trusts Diana enough to take her into his cave and to let her into his world.
So now we're in New York, and I love the aesthetic of it. It's 1938 New York. It just looks so cool. Like the production design is so accurate. It's so awesome. And we see Drax, and he's handed the Silver Skull as Kit Walker arrives in New York. So it's kind of like an intercut scene. And Drax says he knows the location of the second skull and he's planning on grabbing it or stealing it that day because he just can't wait. And then Kit visits Diana's uncle, giving him information about Drax and the Sang Brotherhood. And Diana enters and sees Kit. And you can see that there used to be something between them. You can see it because Billy Zane and Christy Swanson have such good chemistry that they don't even need to say anything. You can just tell that there was something between them in the past. They are told that the next skull, which is the Jade Skull, the green skull, is at the Museum of World History. So they're headed there next, but Drax is also headed there. So that will be the next complicated scene. So that pushes the story forward, I think.
Yeah, I absolutely love the production design of this movie because, like Dean said, it's so 1939 New York. I mean, it's just absolutely wonderful. I mean, the production design for this movie is great. But the one thing that I really, really enjoy about this movie now is that the race is on to find these skulls. And Diana, Kit, and Drax and his monkeys are chasing. So it's like everybody's chasing the same thing. So
Yeah.
at this point, it's like a race to the finish. And I absolutely love, I believe it's the scene that Deanie's gonna mention next or in a couple of minutes, when Kit gets to the museum where when Kit gets to the museum that the skull's in and how he gets it out. I'm like, that's great.
So as we're going to the museum, we find out there's a little scene between Diana and Kit. We find out that Kit just up and left Diana, like they were together in college. And then he just left. Didn't call her, didn't tell her where he was going, and then never came back.
Bastard.
No wonder Diana is
He
pissed
ghosted
the fuck
her?
off. Yeah.
He ghosted her. What a bastard.
Didn't even fucking say goodbye. What a fuckwit. And he said, look, his father died and he had to take over the family business, which we know what that is. But he could have fucking told her. He could have said, look, you know what I mean? Like, he didn't have to tell her I'm the Phantom, he could have just said, I have to leave because X, Y, and Z. But he didn't even do that. So, like, fucking Diana has fucking right to be pissed off. So Kit and Diana get to the museum and they find the jade skull in like a glass case encasing. Diana's like, look, my uncle knows someone that, could unlock it, and Kit is like, yeah, whatever. So he just smashes it. He just throws the thing into it, smashes it. There's people there that look, and he just grabs it. He's like, yeah, well, let's just do this. So as soon as he grabs it, Drax shows up with his monkeys and basically takes it from them. And I actually hate it when they do this in movies where the good guy goes through all this shit. Not that Kit went through this shit, but it's the same kind of vibe. When the good guy goes through all this shit, finally gets what he's looking for, and then the bad guy shows up and takes it, I actually there's nothing that annoys me more than that.
Also, that is annoying. That is annoying to me. I will give you that. But the other thing that annoyed me about this movie, and listen, there isn't a lot. This is like possibly the only thing that really annoys me about this movie.
Yeah.
There are several instances in this movie where the Phantom is dead. The Phantom is dead in the water, and Drax's henchmen, or Drax's monkeys, to use Dean's word, have him dead to rights. But they won't do it. They won't shoot him, or they won't subdue him. They give him a chance to escape. And I really think that this movie is written very, very competently, but I would have wished if the writers would have made those scenes a little bit more perilous for the Phantom.
Yeah, I think.
I mean,
no, I don't. No, I don't think so. Like, I get what you're saying, but I don't think it warrants it, because this movie is like a bubblegum.
Right.
The good guy's supposed to get away. It's not supposed. It's like, stick him up. You know what I mean? Like, what? It's like
it's like a yes. No. You know what it is? It is a serial. It's like a serial from the 50s, like Indiana Jones.
Exactly. So what you're saying, yes, that's true, but I don't think it's warranted in this. I don't think it would have brought anything to it, because I don't think it's that type of movie to me.
Right.
So Drax gets the jade skull and he has the silver skull, and when he combines both the skulls, there's like a laser that comes out of them, and it drills into a map that's up on the wall, and it basically reveals the location of the third skull, which is pretty cool. Thoughts?
I go, okay. At this point, we're like an hour into the movie, and we are headed screaming into the third act. The fact that the very same map that has the location that they were looking to get towards is actually there, I go, that's all right, it's convenient. But listen, at this point, I'm in love with this movie and I don't care. So at this point, I'm like, okay, that's fine. Let's go. Also, I was thinking, that's the secret. That's what this thing does. It shoots lasers out of its eyes. That's it.
It's shooting freaking lasers.
Seriously. The way that the writer and the director built up the MacGuffin of what these skulls actually do was so much more interesting than what they actually did with it. So I was kind of, listen, as a kid and as an adult, that piece of this movie, it kind of always has disappointed me. Or do you feel the same way, or is it just me?
No, I liked it because the way that the skulls were set up was it's more destructive than any explosive on the planet, which is true, because once he gets all the third skull together, he can't control it. I'm not going to say the spoiler, but he can't. It's a laser that comes out that can literally cut through anything and vaporizes people. So if you point it at someone, it vaporizes them. That's pretty dangerous to someone that can control that.
Yeah, that's pretty powerful. Okay. I stand corrected. That's pretty powerful.
So the next scene, Drax orders Kit to be killed, and this is the kind of scene you were talking about. He takes Diana with him to the location of the other skull at a place called the Devil's Vortex, because he needs her as insurance, because he doesn't want the fucking uncle like coming after him or sending people after him, so he takes Diana with him. Kit obviously escapes and turns into the Phantom. Where he had the Phantom costume is anybody's guess. I'm not going to dwell on it. And then he tries to catch up to them. And there's a really cool action sequence of him jumping from car to car top to car top at night, 1930s cars, like crossing the street. Like it's just a really, really cool scene. And then he gets pursued by the cops after stealing a police horse and then hides in a zoo. And I always thought that this was cool. And he's in the tiger's cage, but the tiger doesn't attack him because he's the Phantom. That make it, weirdly enough, it makes sense why the tiger doesn't attack him because he's the Phantom, and he's friends with all animals. So I'm like, it's just, and that was a real tiger. That was not this CG bullshit they used today. It was a real tiger. That was really Billy Zane patting the tiger. Like it was just, it was only a small scene, but I always thought that scene was so cool. And then the Phantom arrives at the docks, having received word that's where Drax is, and he kind of he sees the seaplane about to take off and grabs onto kind of one of its wings as it takes off headed to the Devil's Vortex, which, yeah, that was a pretty cool it was a cool action scene. It was a cool action scene.
I absolutely love the sequence when the Phantom is hopping on the cars at night. It's such a wonderful sequence. And you are absolutely right. When he hides in the zoo and he goes into the cave with the tiger, and the fact that the tiger doesn't attack him, and the fact that Billy Zane was brave enough to pet that actual thing, that they didn't actually use like a maquette or a puppet, is goddamn amazing. And Billy Zane as an actor, in that moment, I mean, he must have had nerves of steel. I mean, who knows how many times they actually had to shoot that thing. Also, another thing that I noticed about this movie that I would have tweaked a little bit, I would have shown the uncle a little bit more in this movie, being worried about his niece's whereabouts. Because
Yeah.
do we ever see him again?
No. I don't think so.
Right?
No, we don't see him again.
No. So
No.
we see him in like 2 scenes, right? And that's it.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. I could have I could have fixed that too, but you know what? I don't care. This movie's still awesome.
It's still awesome. So the seaplane lands in the Devil's Vortex, and the Phantom jumps into the water. And Drax, Diana, and his crew get into a lifeboat and go into the cave. And the Phantom follows, swimming kind of behind. And they come across the Sang Brotherhood, who live in the cave. And the cave is such a cool set. It's such a
It's a
cool
wonderful
set.
set.
It looks like pirates have just set up in a cave. It's just really, really, there's like banners and it's just really cool. There's fire torches everywhere. I always thought it was an awesome
Well,
set.
also, I kept you're gonna get to it like in a minute. So off you go. You're gonna get to it in a minute.
So we meet the great Kabai Sang, and he's the leader, and he's the descendant of the first Kabai Sang. And we see he has the third and final skull, which is the gold skull, but informs Drax that unfortunately there is a fourth skull that controls the power of the other three, and if you don't have the fourth skull, then you're fucked, basically. And Drax is like, nobody told me about a fourth skull. What are you talking about, a fourth skull? And Kabai Sang's all fucking cocky about it. He's like, yeah, well, now you know. And then the Phantom busts in and starts fucking shit up. Because that's what he does. He fucks up the bad guys. And he fights Kabai Sang and basically wins because he's the Phantom, and he never loses. And he feeds him to the sharks. He feeds Kabai Sang to the sharks, which is cool.
Yes, but I listen. On more of a serious note now, I love that the writers of this film really throwed in that final curveball, that to control these three skulls and to really harness the power of these three skulls, you need a fourth skull, which the descendant guy or the pirate guy or Shang Tsung, for my purposes, doesn't really he doesn't specify where or kind of what the fourth skull looks like. And what it ends up being is really, really cool. Also, I really think that the fight choreography in the scene with all the pirates fighting with the bad guys and the sword fighting, it really reminded me of the third act in Steven Spielberg's Hook.
Oh yeah,
a little bit.
Yeah,
A little bit, because it's very swashbuckly in the best kind of ways.
Yes, that's true. So the Phantom gets Diana and Sala out, and Drax finds the Phantom and puts the three skulls together. When he puts the three skulls together, it's again the laser beam shoots out of it, but it's like worse than it was when he put the two together. So now he's got three together, and it basically, he shoots it, he accidentally points it at Quill, and it just fucking vaporizes him, and it cuts through steel, like it's like, don't point that at me kind of thing. And then he points it at the Phantom, because the Phantom says, I know where the fourth skull is. I know what it is, and I know who has it. And Drax is like, tell me now. And he goes, oh, I wonder where it, like, he's playing with it. He's like, I wonder where it is. And so Drax points the laser beam at the Phantom, and there's such a cool shot of the Phantom turning around, putting his hand into a fist and pointing it at the laser beam, and he's got the ring on, and his ring is the fourth skull. And when I was watching that in the cinema, I'm like, this might be the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. And as he's pointing it at Drax, it's like these two laser beams going head to head. It's kind of like Harry Potter and Voldemort when they've got that fight in the Deathly Hallows, where it's like one's winning and then the other one's winning, and it's like that, until the energy pushes so far into Drax that it ends up fucking like vaporizing him, and he dies, and that's it.
Yeah, I actually love the reveal that the Force Stone is the stone that the Phantom has had in his possession for his entire life, and in the form of his ring. I really think that that's an ingenious sort of last story surprise that the writers gave us. And the scene of watching the Phantom and Drax fight each other with their lasers is very reminiscent of Harry Potter and Voldemort fighting in the front of the school. But I kept thinking Drax was Voldemort saying, "The boy who lived, come to die." So it's just so great.
Yeah,
so great.
so great.
But it's a wonderful scene. And I absolutely love that in his last moments, Drax is so obsessed that he says, the power, it's so much.
Yeah.
And then the motherfucker gets vaporized.
Yeah.
I'm like, this, you know what? I will double down on the fact that this may be the coolest, cheesiest thing I've ever seen. Do you agree with me?
Yes. Yes, I do.
It's fucking awesome.
Yes, I do. So the Phantom and Diana are back at his skull cave when he basically tells her the story of the Phantom, and it's basically passed on from son to son, and when the father dies, the son has to take over as the Phantom. So everybody thinks it's just the same guy, but it's not. It's passed on from father to son. And then he takes her to the beach to say goodbye when she asks him to take off his mask and show me your face, Kit. So we don't know when exactly she knew it was him, but she knew it was him. She just kind of didn't want to say anything. And he takes it off, and this is another sexy scene. So he's in the Phantom costume. He takes it off. His hair's, even though it's a wig now, fuck. His hair's beautiful. It's all in his face. It's just hot. It kills me that I know it's a wig. It absolutely fucking tears my fucking heart out. So anyway, he takes it off and he says he can only reveal himself to one woman, the woman he intends to marry. And it's just like, it's just like my romantic heart's just like, oh my God. And then Diana says, what if she refuses you? And he says, no one refuses the Phantom. And I'm like, oh, that's so cute. Like, he said it really cute with a little smile on his face. And then they kiss, and then she gets on the plane, and there's a voiceover, which I didn't write down, but there's a voiceover saying, Diana vowed to return to Bengala Jungle, to return to him. And it was just, it was a really, really, really cool ending to a really amazing movie. And you know what? The screenwriting was great. Though I love this movie. I didn't have many nitpicks because I knew what I was getting into. It's a superhero movie. It's campy. It's fun. It's not supposed to be serious. It's not supposed to be, Avengers Civil War. It's not supposed to be serious. It's supposed to be what it is supposed to be. And I think when people saw it, because it absolutely fucking tanked, I don't think people really understood it. I don't think people were really ready for superhero movies at that point. I don't think they did a great marketing campaign for it either. But anyway, that's the end of the movie.
No, but the other thing that I was thinking about when Kit reveals himself to Diana on the beach, just off to the side, Catherine Zeta-Jones is getting the plane ready, and I'm like, are you sure you want to be taking off your mask? Because there's a woman over there that like a half an hour ago was trying to kill you.
I thought that too, and I was like, no, I reckon she's too far away. I reckon she's too far away to see it.
The other thing, and this is a small thing, and again, it's not a nitpick, but this is a small thing. When Kit shows Diana the lineage of the Phantoms and how the Phantom mantle is passed down from family member to family member,
Mm.
I'm like, okay, how do you guys ensure that all the kids that you have are male? What would you guys do if when Diana gets pregnant with Kit's baby,
Mm.
metaphorically,
Mm.
what are you gonna do if Diana delivers a girl?
Try again.
How
That's what you do.
What is this? What is this? Feudal Japan? What
Yeah,
the hell?
try again.
You're just gonna
Well, that's not what we
you know,
wanted.
but but listen, I really, really like this movie. No, I don't like this movie. I love this movie to the deepest recesses of my soul
Mm.
because I had it on VHS.
Yeah, me
I
too.
have it now on digital, thanks to a lovely, lovely friend of mine who shall remain nameless. Yeah, it's just wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. And I really think that Dean has a great point that when this movie came out, critics weren't ready for it. And sometimes critics just don't know how to have fun.
So anyway, trivia.
Go forth.
This is actually one of my favorite scores to a movie. It's done by David
Oh, it's a
Newman,
wonderful score.
and I have the soundtrack,
Wonderful
and I
score.
absolutely fucking love the score to this movie. It's beautiful. So Bruce Campbell was considered for the role of the Phantom.
No, I
Yeah.
love Bruce Campbell, but no,
Yeah.
it has to be. It has to be forever and always Billy Zane with that wig on his head.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so Jennifer Lopez and Jenny McCarthy auditioned for the role of Sala.
Jennifer Lopez, no way.
She would have been
No.
good, I think, because remember, this is in her Anaconda age, Money Train age,
Oh,
when she was just
okay.
starting out.
Okay. So if it's in that era, I will accept J-Lo.
Yes, Minnie Driver was actually cast as Sala, but had to be dropped out. She dropped out at the last minute. Minnie Driver, I don't know.
Oh wow. Okay. I'm not sure about that. Okay.
Yeah. So the beach scenes were filmed in Thailand, and the Sang Brotherhood Cave was actually filmed in Australia.
Oh, look at that in your backyard. That's awesome.
This
Yeah.
I like this. The original costume for the Phantom had built-in muscles to kind of jack up Billy Zane, right? Because that's what they do. Spoiler alert, with a lot of the costumes for superheroes, they put in like the foam muscles, right? But Billy Zane worked out so much for the role that they actually didn't need to use it and had to make a completely different costume for him because he already had the muscles.
That's fucking dedication, folks. I mean, if you come in for a superhero movie and you've done your job so well that they have to rebuild your fucking suit, that says it right there, folks.
That's being an actor. That's being an actor.
Listen, it sounds like he worked out to the level of Chris Evans in the first Avengers movie.
Yes.
Because Chris Evans worked himself to death.
Yes.
For the first Avengers movie.
Yeah. My last piece of trivia is, and this actually makes me want to like curl up in a ball and just cry. There was a planned trilogy, but it was scrapped because it bombed at the box office.
Oh, bullshit!
Man, when I read that, I went, oh man,
bullshit.
Fucking hell,
bullshit. You know what? If if I am blessed to get to where I want to get to in life, I'm gonna write a Phantom movie.
No, I want to write a Phantom movie. I want to write it. Yeah.
No, my God,
I'll just continue the story.
You want to write one? I want to write one. So, would you be willing to come out of retirement to help me write one?
No, I'll just do it. Why would I want to help you? Whoever can do it.
You're gonna take my joy?
Yeah, like I always do.
You suck.
Anyway, that's the end of my trivia. So if you want to email us, you can email us at themixtapepod@aol.com. Next week, we're going to pivot because we like to pivot here on the Mixtape Podcast. We're going to pivot. We're going to do a little movie called There Will Be Blood, starring Daniel Day-Lewis, which is an amazing movie. So please join us next week for that. And as I always say, every single week, if someone is kind enough to make you a mixtape, that must mean that they really love you. The Mixtape Podcast is a Balloonhead Productions presentation.